guys, I know a lot of you are asking about what happened to cause a big fiery mess on O-line Friday night of Scheid Diesel's event and the super stock class. Some small failures caused a big flame, basically is how I can explain it. We went there with, obviously most of you seen, we tried to spool it up in the backyard and shattered the front end. So we didn't sleep Thursday night into Friday morning and rebuilt the entire front end with the new ring and pinion, and went into the unknown territory whether it was going to even light off the line or not. Justin Gerhardt with Cream of the Crop kind of ran me through some driving courses, and I can't thank him enough because I have never driven a Sigma pump, and it is very different than any other P-pump that you would ever put your hand on. It does take a lot of talent to drive those, and I respect every single one of those guys. Not very many vehicles I could ever get into and not be able to figure it out within the first try or second try. This one has tested my patience. Coming up on the 3107 5 blades is not the easiest task. We're going to work with the turbine housings a little bit to try to get that spool time down a little bit, but let's go into the failures. We have a Waterman fuel pump that's mounted to the front of the engine that supplies all of the fuel to the Sigma pump. On top of that, we have a solid mounted fuel dump valve that in case of a runaway emergency, you can hit a lever and it will dump all of the fuel supply directly back to the tank and run the P-pump dry to keep it from fueling the engine. That, under the vibrations, obviously it wasn't leaking when we went up to the line, but after I got it spooled up and under boost and it was working hard, it had loosened it up. I think it took me about 4 full rotations to tighten it back down, which caused us a lean condition. And in sled pulling, they use just as much fuel as they do high pressure water to keep the cylinders cool. So when it started to leak out all of the fuel that feeds the Sigma pump from Fair Valley, it's an amazing piece, by the way, and it went into the lean condition, it also went to kick on the high pressure water, and right at where the water connects to the fitting, somehow it had blown out right there and caused all of our high pressure water to blow out on the ground instead of into the engine. So everything that we had in the truck to make the temperatures run cool on the cylinders was no longer there. And in the truck, I could not hear a cylinder dropping out. On the outside, you can definitely hear a cylinder dropping out. And I always wondered that watching all these sled pullers pull, why they'd never let out when they hear it start cutting up. Like, why wouldn't you just let out of the gas because you know something's happening bad? And I got a taste of that over the weekend. And there's no way I was ever going to hear that over those 3 5 blades screaming in my ear. So we did have a high pressure water failure. We had a fuel supply issue to the Sigma pump from a loose fitting from the vibrations of the engine. Maybe I just didn't get it quite tight as I should have, but I think we're going to isolate it on some rubber maybe and mount it a little different. I'm not sure yet. If nothing else, I'm definitely going to put some type of keeper around the fitting itself and keep it tight throughout the passes because I cannot do that again. Fire was, I mean, obviously this is a lot slower of a pace than drag racing, so it felt like I had forever to do whatever I needed. I wasn't in a real big hurry if you watch the videos, but I did put in fire suppression. Actually, Nick put in fire suppression for me while I was doing some other tuning things on the laptop, which is a firefighter, a friend of mine. Luckily, we put that in 2 days before the event. I knew I was going to send it at least on Saturday. That was our game plan. It was going to either go or blow. We didn't make it, obviously, to Saturday. We made it to Friday. fire suppression, I pulled it and it put out the majority of the fire, which saved the entire front end. I mean, there's oil running down all the fenders out the front. There was fuel covered everywhere, and our fire suppression, with the help of the track crew over there getting on it super fast, saved this entire underside of the hood, which is absolutely one of the cheapest things you can do is put in fire suppression rather than rebuild your entire truck. I'm super thankful as a drag racer mentality that we have. You know, it was mandatory for me to put the fire suppression in at this kind of power level, because it's just known that something is able to fail at any point in time. Obviously, like something so small as a fuel line fitting being directly connected to the engine and creating that harmonics that would perfectly loosen that fitting up is just crazy to me. I never even thought about it. If it was super tight, it probably wouldn't have happened, but you know, you can also mess up the fitting going too tight. So I don't know, it's all learning curves for us. We're new into this level of even horsepower at that. I mean, you know, 3,000 horsepower is pretty easy on the drag strip. But when you're doing fuel and air only with high pressure water, I mean, it is literally all new compared to what we're used to doing. So we're definitely learning a lot. All the super stock guys that I talked to over the weekend were absolutely amazing. They answered any questions. I figured there'd be secrets that they wouldn't answer, and I told them up front, like, listen, like, if this is a secret, don't tell me. I'm not here to try to steal your hard-earned, you know, time and knowledge. I don't want that. But there is just some things that you hope they tell you to keep you from having total devastation failures. Right now, a lot of people think that the engine split. It did not split. The engine is in one piece. When it got so hot, I don't know how many cylinders it burnt, but it burnt some holes in the piston. The oil pan looks like a balloon, as you can see in the pictures. It is very, very pressurized. It blew. It put all of the boost pressure that was going into the engine when it melted the holes in the piston, hole or holes, I'm not sure. All that pressure from the cylinder went to the oil pan, and 2 1-inch hoses couldn't keep up. It blew a freeze plug out of the back of the block, which has happened to me on the drag racing side. So instantly when I seen that, I knew that we had lost some internal engine parts and put compression down in the oil pan. It wasn't until yesterday when I went to unload it, when we got to the shop, that I knew that the oil pan was even ballooned like it was. It's pretty impressive. So our game plan is, I don't know. We have a couple options on motors. We know we need something stronger, whether it be billet aluminum or call it Chaos steel block is still kind of up in the air as of noon today. So we really can't afford to add the weight of a steel block, but we can also take some things away that makes it able to handle an extra, 250 pounds on the nose. So we got some decisions to make today on which route we're going to go. This block is still good. I could slap pistons in this block and keep going with it. I just know that, if we go down to, say, diesel and dark corners where they say it's a power track, which means like you're gonna have to crank all the power this thing can make to it to make it go down the track and be competitive, that this block will not survive that type of abuse. So we really have some decisions to make, a little bit of work to do. Today I should be degreasing everything. Makes me sick to my stomach seeing how pretty it was and then seeing all the oil and fuel and fire suppressant everywhere. The good part about our kit on the fire suppressant is it's a Novak system from Safecraft. I have that in multiple drag trucks, and the reason I have that in multiple drag trucks is because it is a clear liquid. It looks like water. It does not take the oxygen away. It actually cools the atmosphere around it. It's a super, super cold fluid, and when it comes out, it literally makes it too cold for flames to be there, is the way they explained it to me. At their display at PRI, when I found them 4 years ago, they had an entire iPad shoved down into a tank, of their suppressant, and they could literally play on the iPad in the solution. So when you have thousands of dollars of electronics and you need to use a fire suppressant, it is not going to ruin any of your electronics. So it's been a really good system. I've been super fortunate in the last 4 years not to have to use it. It felt good to use it at something that was going, 30, 35 miles an hour rather than 150 miles an hour. And put my faith in it, because there is really no videos on if it works or not for me, and to prove that to myself makes me feel a lot better. It did absolutely do its job 100%. I mean, there was very small flames when the guys came up with their fire extinguishers. Their fire extinguishers are the ones that did leave residue, unfortunately. They did their job. Obviously we can't be mad about that. A little bit of polish will go a long ways, I do believe. So we got a lot of work to do to catch up with those guys for sure. But I think we have some type of a base to work with. I mean, when it came on and I gave it full throttle at 100 foot out, it instantly went to 160 pounds of boost, which we have to fix because I commanded it to not go that far, which is probably around that 3,700 horsepower range, and it was eating it up. I mean, the chassis has worked phenomenally. I was planning on doing a tube chassis fiberglass body over the winter. I don't know if I'm going to get rid of this chassis yet or not. It hasn't shown me signs to its limitations per se. It doesn't hop, it hooks. It's going to be very hard to replicate, I think, without a lot of time invested. And obviously we're all about saving time right now. We have tons of customers that need our attention as well. So some of our stuff gets kind of put on the back burner here and there. So something to look into. Maybe I'll change my mind by the time winter comes around. I don't know. But for now, it is definitely getting a stronger block, so we can open this thing up if we need to. We're going to get the boost control under control and make sure we can contain all the power that we got and have it power management, more manageable than what we have right now. So anyway, the block's good. Need some pistons, maybe some sleeves. This motor could be running, next week if we had pistons in hand today. So it's not a huge failure. It's just more time than anything. Two little things that created a big issue, and it sucks, but we're all learning, and we won't have the same failure again. I promise that. I mean, we will definitely make sure that those things are not a thing, and that's how kind of I've built my entire life off of, was failure analysis and how can I prevent that from ever happening again, whether it's in a transmission, a fuel system, a pulling truck, a drag truck. How can we make it better? And that's my favorite part of my job, matter of fact. So this has kind of opened my eyes and shown me what we need to concentrate on and make things work like they should. And we'll be back soon, I promise that. I don't know if it'll be 2 weeks, 3 weeks, but as soon as it fires back up with a new bullet inside the frame rails, it's going to go get hooked to something somewhere, somehow. So our plan is to be at Diesel and Dark Corners. We actually have Full Pull East USA is putting on an event October 3rd and 4th, I believe, in Pennsylvania. We are signed up to be there in the open class with a bunch of the guys. We're definitely going to try to make that. So we have a lot of work to do, and seems like a long time, honestly. Usually I try to stuff it in a couple days worth of work, but we should be able to get it taken care of within the next week or two and have something to work with and go back out and try it again. Appreciate everybody asking, checking on me. Didn't get hot inside the cab. I've heard that a lot. Did it get hot? No, I have my full drag racing suit on. I had the neck sleeve on. I have my race gloves on. I mean, I'm way overprotected compared to probably a lot of the guys, because I just use my race suit with my Hans device and everything to do what I do in the pulling truck. Thankfully, I have kids to go home to, and we take safety very serious. And I've already got a new bottle of fire suppression on order, so we should be able to have that here. Hopefully I never have to use it again, but we'll have a full bottle ready to go. But anyway, yeah, O-line is, it's hurt. It's not done. It's not over for the season. We're definitely going to come back out in October swinging for the fences. We're going to give it everything we got. Last race of the season was this weekend at Scheid's. So now basically our team can kind of concentrate. We can put more team members on the O-line. We can concentrate on more technology and incorporate into the mechanical side of things and try to make it user-friendly per se. And I don't know. We'll see you guys soon.